All right, this video is going to look at the process for our lab, Meet the Martians. If you're watching this video, you no doubt clicked on process part 1. This is where actually the video is supposed to go eventually. So this is what the page will look like. The video eventually will appear here. So you'll be watching the video in this location on this page. Should be interesting. All right. So let's read through the directions once here, and then we can go ahead and show you how to do each of these parts. Part 1 of the process says determine the genetics of the parents, P1 generation. These have been given to you. See the genotype. In this example, I do have them there. Determine the phenotypes using the trait chart and record the information. Calculate the probability of the crosses, the second part. It says use 2 Punnett squares must be used to calculate the genotype probability F1 F2 generations. The genotype calculator from the following website will do that because you're looking at 5 different traits, right? We're used to doing just one trait, right? And that gives you 4 boxes. Well, this would exponentially increase the number of boxes that you'd have to have. So we use a genotype calculator and it does all the work for you. And what's great is that you get this little, so you have the screen capture on the page here already, of what the results will look like. And we'll show you what that looks like with the example that is in here. We're also going to be willing to, when you run the calculator, to change your alleles out. I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. And then you have to make a screen capture for your results, because that's how you're going to do your genotype percentages. It's just basically whatever the computer app gives you from that website. At the top here it says determine the genetics of the parents, P1 generation. These have been given to you. Yes, they have been. They've been typed in there for you. So you've got the parents' genetics already figured out. So if you click on that link, this is where it takes you. You see that you have your different alleles that you can use to determine. Notice that you have to have this pasted here from the Punnett square generator online. We'll get to that in a moment. But you're going to be filling this out as you go along. And for our traits, if I go and click back on that page, it says using the trait chart, click on that link, it takes you to the trait chart and it has the background of all the different traits that are involved, right? So like eyes, if we were to focus on the eyes, it says the eyes in Martians are sex-linked. One eye is dominant to 2 eyes. Right? So if we take a look at our parents, we have male and we have female, the male and his mate, right? And the male has X with the superscript big E, Y. And if we look at our trait chart, that is telling us superscript big E is dominant. So the male has 1 eye. And that's a dominant characteristic. And he's only got one of those characteristics, only one allele, because the other one's going to be the Y, which makes a guy. All right, so you can type in here one eye male. Right? And if you take a look at the female, she's X with a superscript big E, X with a superscript little e. If you look at our trait chart again, you will see that she has also 1 eye, but she's a carrier for 2 eyes. So she's 1-eyed. And you can continue doing this. If we take a look here, our male is 2 big L's. Notice that when we look at L's legs are incompletely dominant. Large and small show up in homozygous individuals. Heterozygous inheritance would be an intermediate because it's incomplete dominant. So you'd have long, large, small, and a medium. You can see that in the chart here. So let's take a look at what our parents are. So the male is long-legged, and the female is also long-legged. Right, now let's take a look at feather color. All right, feather color is using multiple alleles, and white is the recessive. So if white is with any other allele, it is going to be hidden, it'll be masked. So red, blue, yellow, green, pink, orange, and purple will be seen as different colors. Some of them, if you take a look at like pink, is red and white together. That one is incomplete dominant. So it's not incomplete dominant to red. Orange, right, is going to be red with yellow, making orange. Purple, got blue feathers with red feathers, and that makes you purple. So you can use this chart to help figure that out. We just use regular color blending methods to figure this out. So white is recessive to blue, yellow, green. And if you get 2 of the white alleles, C with a superscript little w, then that is the individual that will be white. All right, so let's take a look at what our parents are here. Our parents C with the superscript B, C with the superscript B, so that's going to be blue feathers for the male, and the female is the same phenotype because she has the same genotype as the male. Now we're going to take a look at arms. Arms can be capital A, lowercase a, or capital B. All right, so let's see what they can be here. If it's got a capital A, it's accordion arms, right? So what does this mean? Well, accordion is dominant, and so is something called outstretched, means that they are out long, and that is also dominant. And what is recessive is a normal, right? So if you have an accordion arm allele receiving with a normal allele, then that offspring or that parent is going to be accordion. Right? Normal would have to be both recessive alleles, so both little a's. So let's see what our parents got. Here we got a parent that is accordioned and outstretched. So type that in. And the female, the mate, is just accordion. All right. Now, if you're looking at W, right, go ahead and take a look here. W, wings, these follow a pattern of complete dominance, so you either have wings or you don't. So if you have the heterozygous form where it's capital W and lowercase w, then it will show the dominant characteristic, which is no wings. To be recessive means you have wings. All right, so this is both capital W's, so this is no wings for the male. And for the female, she does have wings. So in this case, we're actually using a real family that was created by another class. So you can actually look at this. If you look back at the directions, you can see there are those individuals right there. All right, so that was process step number 1. All right, now step number 2, you have to figure out, well, what are the probabilities of these two having offspring, right? We look at 5 different traits at one time. It's really complicated, so we're going to use a Punnett square generator to help us. All right, so basically, you're going to go to this website here. We'll click on it. It'll open up. And then we're going to change some of these settings as we go along. So give me a moment here. I'll open up that. All right, so we've got the directions on the left-hand side here, and the Punnett square generator is actually being shown on the right-hand side. So let's take a look at the settings. First thing says change number of traits to 5. So manually, you have to do this. Right? It says number of traits, and it crosses 2 with the slider. So click on it and drag it until you get to 5 different traits. And what it does is that now gives you a probability, and it gives you this is the actual Punnett square. So could you imagine sitting down with a piece of paper and trying to create this Punnett square? So it's impossible. And what this does is allows us to look at this. Now we'll be showing frequencies once we get everything typed in here. So right now on the default setting, this is what you get. It's a huge chart. Ours won't look this big, right? And what we need to do is we need to put in our genetics from our individuals. So some things to note. Right, we're going to try and simplify this. It says for E, that's a superscript, right? We're going to just use the capital letters because we already know boy and girl. All right, and then L with the prime on it. We're just going to use the prime whenever the prime is on there, just to give us a difference. Now we're only looking at genotypes, we're not looking at phenotypes, so you don't have to worry about changing any of that. We're just looking at what is the probable outcome. Right? So let's edit the parent one genetics. So let me show you my parents again, what they are. Right, so the male is got the big E, and we can just put Y, that's fine. It'll show the difference. It'll also figure out male and female. We'll do this. E, that's a big E, and a little e with mom. So we've got dad's and mom's genetics in there, the first trait. Second trait, we have long, so both big L's. Notice that each of our letters goes in one box. You can only fit one letter in each box. Mom is the same genotype. She's got 2 big L's for her leg length. Now we're looking at feather color. We got C with the superscript B, right? Just use B's. As long as you have something different for each of our alleles, it'll do the calculations for us. Both the parents have B's for blue. That works out fine. Now we got some differences here for the arms. So dad is accordion stretched out. He's got a big A and a little a. Mom has just accordion arms, so she's just little a, little a. All right, and then looking at the last trait here, dad has no wings, which is dominant, so 2 capital W's. And then recessive, mom has 2 lowercase w's. Right? And what happens now is that when we get these all typed in, it goes and figures out our probability. Right? So you scroll up, and you've already hit show frequencies, and there they are. You need this. So you just use screen capture tool, and you can capture that, copy it, and if you go back to your page, you can put it in there, just like so. Copy and paste. There it is. That's what to do. So from the generator, copy and paste it. Right, and what you'll see is, you'll see the genotype right there crossing the parents, and you can actually double check, make sure it's right. Go back over your lists, make sure mom and dad are correct. So that is all for process first two steps, step 1 and step 2.
One thing you need to note is that you have to do this twice, right? You have to do it for the P generation, which we did together on the video here, with your own genotypes. And one of the kids, once you do the actual outcome, you actually go through and use the chromosomes and actually make individuals, then you have to do it again because you're going to make one of your offspring from the P generation, in our F1 generation, and create a whole next generation, but you have to create a mate. And you have to do that again. So you will see there's going to be an F1 cross. And you have to do the same background. What is the probability of one of the offspring? In this case, it was Blader from the other class, and his mate was green. And you can see that in our Punnett square, that they went through, and so here's Blader and here's green, and they had 3 kids. So you do it twice, right? The cross against the 2 parents. They have 3 kids, and then you're gonna have another cross. Whenever you get the offspring, then you can do the cross again. So you have to basically do process part 1 once, then do process part 2, then you go back and do process part 1 again to get that next generation. All right. This concludes this video.